Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, and these are your November 2023 video horoscopes for each of the 12 signs with an intro talking about the world events as well. And I've been looking forward to talk about this month because there is something very important happening this month, which is Mars and the Sun are joining together. This happens once every 2.2 years. And as you'll see from my presentation, it actually determines some of the most important tasks and problems that humanity and the individual person will be working on for the next 2.5 years after this conjunction. So we'll cover each of the signs and what it can mean for the world. And also another very good news that I have is that Saturn is turning direct. And that's good news because certain karmic or complicated situations or situations that were stuck will start moving forward, will start unfolding, will start having resolutions. So this is exciting. Just before I start, I want to let you know that my 2024 video horoscopes, 2.5 hours for each sign, you can pre-order them already for 30% discount. They will be released in November, but anyone who pre-orders will get the 30%, and you will be sent on the date of the release on the 17th of November your specific videos on or bunch of videos, ascendant, sun and moon, whatever you choose. And also my 2023 astrology calendar, which I've been doing for 5 years now, and it's very successful with all transits for the year, when planets become visible and invisible, the meaning of all transits, the meaning of all new moons and full moons. They're not specific for you, they're general, but you have like a calendar. It's the 120, 50 pages usually every year, and it's interactive. So you click on the date and it takes you to the meaning of that transit and the events that are happening then, so you can plan your year ahead. But now let's go to this Mars Sun conjunction. First, I'll speak a little bit about the world. Why is it so important? Because the Sun Mars conjunction shows where our biggest battles and fights and our biggest breakthroughs are happening for the next 2.5 years. Let me just remind you, in 2019, towards the end, the Sun and Mars met in Virgo. So what happened for the next 2.5 years? Virgo is a sign of sickness, illness, taking care of your health. Well, we had a pandemic. All the efforts, which is Mars, of the world and all the bright minds, the sun of the world, were getting together to solve this issue or to mess it up, whatever. So that's what happened last time, the time before last. Then the next 2021, towards October, Sun and Mars met in Libra. And it meant that for the next 2 years till now, the theme was very different. It wasn't, so that's when COVID hysteria started dying out and the cases going down and the lockdowns going down, but a new set of problems appeared, which was Libra to solve. So what happened? Libra is one of the signs of peace and war, or lack of peace. Then we had the eruption of the war in Ukraine. And what happened? Libra is about taking sides. Libra is about negotiations, is about treaties, is about diplomatic sanctions or diplomatic agreements. Well, all the world for 2.5 years was focused on this Libra issue of, and the world actually split into two factions. BRICS and the Western world. The Western world, which is more the globalists, as they call them, and BRICS, which they said, like, we don't want to follow the rules of this agenda. So the world split in two, literally. In Libra also rules business, trading agreements. There was like such kind of rearrangements of alliances. So that was the hugest focus after that. And now we're coming for the next one. So what is going to be the next set of problems? And you're seeing already the war in Ukraine is almost like out of everyone's mind. But where Mars and the Sun are going to meet now in November on the 18th. And we can feel it a month before that, like we started. They're going to meet in Scorpio. And Scorpio is not as forgiving sign as Libra. Scorpio is can be one of the most devastating signs. It can be one of the most destructive signs. It's very profound as well. So Scorpio reveals truths, reveals hidden secrets, brings to the surface everything that is dirty, the dirty skeletons, the dirty laundry, as you say, of the world. All conspiracies, all anything that has been done on the closed doors, they will be a focus for the next 2 years. But Scorpio is a sign of war. Scorpio is and now we're talking that is more dangerous one. And I pray to God it doesn't escalate to something more extreme, but Scorpio is a sign of terrorism, of war, of extreme hostilities. Libra, at least there was some kind of negotiation there. They managed to piece, the balance a little bit. It didn't spread like fire. When Scorpio and the Sun and Mars join in Scorpio, the next 2.5 years can be under a lot of like extreme reactions, scorpionic power struggles in the world, rebellions, it's physical violence as well. It's likely extreme hatred, but also it will show us 2.5 years period of people doing extreme acts of heroism as well. There is the other spectrum of Scorpio, and Scorpio can be, the destructive force, but also the resurrecting force, the extremely healing force. And they're meeting at the 25th degrees in Scorpio. And that's in tropical astrology is the sign Scorpio, and in sidereal, your actual constellations. It's also the sign Scorpio. The sign Scorpio is basically, so both the constellation Scorpio and the sign Scorpio. So there is both astrologies, Western and Vedic, agree. It's in the sign of the Scorpion, near the close of the Scorpion. It's actually, in Vedic astrology, this lunar mansion, we call it, is called Vishaka. And it's the lunar mansion of power. This is one of the most powerful lunar mansions. And this lunar mansion is this lunar mansion of war as well, the warrior king. So again, these are key words, warrior king. So at the personal level, you become a warrior somewhere. And this warrior king, they describe Vishaka as the most focused and concentrated power, horse with blinkers, nothing distracts you. You can't see others' opinion like Libra now. It's like action. You straight, you charge, you don't care, you can trample others towards your goal. So collectively the energy will be like that. Governments, people, like unapologetic, kind of almost ruthless energy. My son has his moon there when he's born. Anyone who has their moon around the last degrees of tropical, from the middle of tropical Scorpio towards the later ones, they're Vishaka. Focused, concentrated, obsessive quality, which is fantastic for a person because these people can be so successful. This is the power, the lunar nakshatra of power and purpose. So whatever this conjunction is happening in your horoscope, we'll cover the 12 signs. You'd have unflinching obsession, passion, dedication to pursue something there, to wage a war against something, to overcome some issue, and you can even, there is a saying that for this lunar nakshatra, the ends justifies the means, which is not true. We have to be careful, but with this, so we have, especially in the political world and collectively, if people or rulers are acting that the end justifies the means, imagine what things can happen. Scorpio rules atomic energy as well. Scorpio rules destruction. Scorpio rules anything to do with poisoning. Scorpio rules anything to do with death, massive death as a possibility. So we'll have to be very careful. But on a personal level, again, collectively, this is dangerous energy. Collectively, it's where we have to pray. But when it comes to personal energy, often the individual can transform this energy in a very positive way. As I said, purpose, focus, indiminisable ambition. this Vishaka part of the Scorpio constellation and sign, this part of this, each sign is split into different lunar mansions. It's so purposeful, so ambitious. So you can do kind of a miracle, hero's work, uncomparable achievements of willpower in that area of your life that the Mars and the Sun activates. I'm not saying already from November, but you have 2.5 years to work on that. So we'll cover each of the 12 signs. But there is also a bit more danger because this Sun Mars conjunction is opposite, which is very powerful aspect, Uranus. And Uranus is very close to the star Algol, which is a star of revenge, a bit of a destruction. Uranus is very explosive, boom, 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 and you see what's happening already. As I said, astrological influences can start happening up to a month before. And explosions, everything, even kind of destruction. There is Scorpio rules volcanoes as well, so think about such kind of Uranus on Algol in Earth sign, even the earth shaking in a sense. Oh, it sounds so apocalyptic, but Scorpio is apocalyptic sign. Here is representation of Scorpio behind me. The kids made it yesterday. So all of those things are Scorpio, which is howling, scary, spooky. But it's also the rebirth of the soul. It's the soul. It's almost like the soul is thrown into the fire of a volcano, spun there and brought out purified and clean. Pure without all the dirt is burned off of it, all the muck, all the pain, all the trauma. It's traumatic for a bit, but then it's this resurrection light like a phoenix. So this can happen in your personal life over the next 2.5 years in a certain area of your life. But because Uranus is involved, I think the events will be sudden that happen. They will be powerful. They will shake us up, and on a personal level as well. Collectively, there will be a powerful involvement because Uranus is a social planet of fast-moving trends, viral trends, and anything to do with very powerful coming together of people for a cause. So social movements of any sorts, and this will be shaky. But it's violent. I mean, Mars opposition Uranus and the Sun. The three planets are quite fiery, quite explosive, sudden as well. Things will be developing very fast. Things are speeding up for the next 2.5 years. We have a saving aspect to this conjunction of Sun and Mars, those guys. This is Neptune is making exact trine to the Sun. Mars conjunction at 25 degrees Scorpio from 25 degrees Pisces. So the trine is divine grace. Neptune is divine unconditional love, also divine grace. Pisces is, the principles that teachers like Buddha and Christ taught us. Forgiveness, love your enemy. We're all one, embrace it from a higher perspective. What will help us? God's grace to alleviate those tensions, to alleviate things getting really destructive. This darker side of Scorpio. Neptune, prayers, people coming together in collective meditations, God's divine grace. Just because God is graceful, God loves us and gives us extra chances always. Faith, knowing that there is a purpose and meaning for that. And of course, forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that is going to possibly even solve those problems. Softer approach. On a personal level, again, prayer, having faith in higher power and knowing it's taking you somewhere. So this is about this conjunction. The other thing is Saturn is turning direct. But we'll look at this individually. I wanted to look with you specifically about this combination, how it will affect the world. And what we can expect for the next 2.5 years, and because of Uranus involved on Algol, that will be very active next year as well, the energy will get very shaky. And Uranus, and by the way, Scorpio and Taurus, because they're both on the axis of this conjunction, they're financial signs. Scorpio rules the banking industry, where you put mutual finances. Scorpio rules hedge funds. Scorpio rules anything to do where many people gather their money at one place. Scorpio rules from the earth, the treasures underground. So that will be petrol, oil, anything that you dig out from underneath the ground. So these are resources underneath the ground. There can be some big focus on that in the next 2.5 years. We already have that happening with petrol and so on, but I think it might escalate because of Scorpio. There might be some battle there because of such resources, or some power stances and decisions taken because of that. Of course, Uranus is in Taurus. It's connected to the resources above the earth, food, wood, stones, all of those things. The prices basically of commodities is Taurus as well, with Uranus there. So it's a financial access, personal money, big money, oligarch money. Scorpio, Taurus is the bounties of the earth, and Taurus is the food that grows on earth. And so this is where I see the tension and the biggest changes happening. So the financial industry, the food industry as well, this access of food and finances, where the focus of willpower, energy, and having to solve problems, but of course also crisis, because Mars has this energy of crisis and something you have to battle for, something you have to put your energy like a soldier to fix, to improve. And hopefully, but it's about 2.5 year cycle. And I hope that this war that started in the Middle East, and guess what? Middle East is ruled by Scorpio as well in ancient literature. And just like less than a month before that, we see before Mars Sun conjunction there, it's escalating. I really hope it doesn't escalate further, but it seems it's again going to be like a 2 year thing happening. That starts there, and I hope it doesn't involve more of the world. That's why this Neptune maybe will be helping. All right, so that's it. Now let's look at each of the 12 signs. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, November 2023. Leo, the month starts with Saturn turning direct in which house for us? Is it in our 8th house? Here it is. Oops. There you go. So if Saturn has been retrograde, which means it's more difficult energy, more slowed down, with more blockages, especially in areas of life connected to mutual finances or resources coming to you from others or from clients, or connected to overcoming psychological obsessions, compulsions, or psychological traumas. So if you've had some blockages or escalation of issues concerning those topics over the past a few months, the moment Saturn starts turning direct, over the next month you'll start feeling uneasy. If there was some obsession that deepened, or if there was some psychological problem that deepened, if there was some kind of a fear that increased, or some internal battle, because 8th house is battle, not only internal, it can be a power struggle with another person, because it's the house of force and abuse of power or power struggles. If there's been some kind of more manipulative situation, or situation that is more abusive, or that has been more unequal or unfair balance of power, this can start getting relieved. Maybe you won't feel it immediately because Saturn takes some time to pick up, but over the course of November, gradually you'll see kind of a relief and improvement of a complication with mutual finances, taxes, insurances, inheritances, if there was any such problem, or if you've been in some kind of a battle with another for resources or money, or some money that was blocked that was supposed to come to you but it's been delayed, or it's been kind of less than normal, or if your partner or spouse has been going through some financial difficulties, it will start unsolving, becoming easier moving forward. Or if you've been working, if you've had some kind of investments in stock markets or investments in mutual hedge funds or whatever, or if there's been some delays to a mortgage or to a loan, all those things start untangling, start becoming better, easier. Or if your partners had financial difficulties, I think it will again, your fears around it and the circumstances around it will start improving. And again, as I stated, if there are some also intimacy blockages, they'll start improving. But also, if you've been working hard on some kind of developing some willpower towards compulsions and obsessions in your life over the last few months. If you've been working hard towards overcoming certain traumas, or working hard on and considering and maybe having some issue with matters of death, loss of a loved one, or divorce, or all the difficult topics of the eighth house: death, loss, divorce, kind of sudden crisis of life. If you've been struggling with such topics, or topics of abuse, topics of power, inequality, these will start easing off of you. Especially if the feelings are more turbulent, more darker inside of you. Because there is a tendency sometimes when Saturn is in the eighth house for us to focus on the life, to push us in that direction, to consider those darker topics, to consider those more difficult, challenging, taboo, or things that we usually darker scorpionic energy, because Saturn is in the eighth house and you've been digging deep into those topics, and now Saturn will start moving forward. So there might be a possibility of healing, of if there's been about grieving, healing, if it's been about some kind of traumas or power struggles or blockages to emotionally opening yourself to others, it starts easing off in some ways. Or if you've had mutual finances problems in some way, again, it starts easing. But Saturn will again go retrograde in your eighth house next year for a few months. So they might be on the next level, maybe not exactly the same problems, but on the next level, different level. But the first, let's say, chapter of this, you're completing it and you're solving it now over the next 1-2 months. Then the really big event that I wanted to focus on, though, is the Sun-Mars conjunction. It's going to happen in Scorpio, in your fourth house from you, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's going to affect you for the next 2 years and a bit more. Seriously, guys, this will be such focus for you, and that's connected to home and family. Wow. So let's think about it. It's how can it manifest? Because Sun and Mars mobilizes your energy and shows this will be an area of your life you'll be putting a lot of concentrated willpower and focus there. So how can it play? For some of you it can mean moving, not necessarily in November, but the first ideas of that might start coming in November, December, at the beginning of this conjunction, or even a bit earlier. But there might be new situation happening with your home and family that requires moving, or that you might get inspired suddenly, I want to have this property, or I want to live in this place, and you'll do anything in your willpower. Nothing will stop you, and you're going to have this house by the end of those 2 years, or you're going to move to that place you want at the end of this year. Or if it's because of external circumstances pushing you, again, there is this something new that is starting there that requires you to mobilize your energy, to move furniture, to maybe to fix, to, or you might feel mobilized to start gardening, for example. Fourth house is anything to do with the house, with property. Even if you're not moving house or property, if you're not building something in your property, Mars, physical energy, you might, which is all these things are great for. You can be doing it over the next 2 years. The concentrated willpower and force of the Sun, Mars in Scorpio guarantees you'll do it. Or you might decide to take like a real estate job and really focus. And with willpower, you can just get, make it happen, that real estate gig. Or if you're already in such area of work, real estate, land, it can be a really concentrated period of work and focus and putting a lot there. Or as I said, you might be avid gardener with a lot of passion and almost like obsession. That's a good thing, because you don't want the more negative side of Scorpio, Sun Mars conjunction in Scorpio, to manifest, which can be, for example, a power struggles with family. I had a few friends who had Mars and Sun conjunct in their fourth house, and over the last year or two, that was like a big focus, was a power struggle with the family. And especially in Scorpio, when it's happening, this conjunction, it can be very intense. It can be about purging some demons, so to speak, from the family karma as well. You focusing, mobilizing, you might become really obsessed and interested in everything fourth house. You might feel it the whole next 2.5 years, like family constellations, like family karma, digging, understanding the psychology, the early childhood, the relationship with the parents, your ancestors, the ancestors' patterns. You might become an expert. As I said, it's obsessive focus. You might be forced to dig into it because of some emotional, psychological turbulence happening inside of you, that the Sun Mars activates you through crisis to start understanding why you are like that. For example, a friend of mine that had Sun Mars conjunction in her fourth house, over the next 2 years, what she did was work with a psychologist to go through all the painful moments of the past, to release a lot of this pain, and she feels she's come to a lot of peace with her family. So that's another manifestation it can play out for you. And you can do a lot of psychological purging and cleaning. You feel like brand new. You see, Saturn is also for the next 2 years in another psychological house of purging, cleaning, and Mars and the Sun conjunction lasts 2.5 years. This cycle, and another childhood house of psychology. So some of the most important work Leo is doing is understanding, especially Leo rising, let's say, but Sun and Moon as well, is understanding where the traumas are coming from, having breakthroughs there, having solutions to that. But even in some cases, it might be recommended to break with some members of family if there is toxic energy. The Sun and Mars there stands up for itself. It's a warrior energy in Scorpio, and it's not afraid of anything. So you might be on a battlefield with the family, if they in any way, but it's about learning to stand up your ground, because you're starting the cycle, the Sun, you're the Sun, Leo. Learning to stand up your ground, learning to, if parents or any other members of your family are trying to penetrate too much or trying to be too invasive, that's where the power struggles can start. But you kind of are making a stand already from November, But it can also mean that you're mobilizing your powers with family, all your energy to achieve some grand goal. I wish it for you. Some grand goal, whether it's building a house, whether it's you're becoming a parent, it might be something like that. So you're putting a lot of energy on parenthood, or you're putting a lot of energy in becoming a better parent. But again, there can be power struggles as a parent there as well. Some crisis you have to solve, but you're very focused on that. And you come victorious out on the end, because the symbol of this nakshatra, the lunar mansion that Sun and Mars are meeting in, is the one of Arc de Triomphe, where warrior returns from war after they've won it. So there is success at the end, whether it's a property you're making, move you're doing, something with your family you're changing, family karma you're exploring kind of patterns of repeating karma or whatever, dealing with, you come triumphant out of that at the end, maybe towards the end of the next 2 years, that might not be immediate. But yeah, there might be some family crisis that you have to deal with, but also new beginnings in the family. New beginnings, new chapter in your family life. For some it might be moving, for others it might be their children going away, for others might be a new child coming, for others might be a parent leaving, something new is happening there. It's a bit intense and extreme because Scorpio is involved, Mars is involved. It might come fast and as a shock, but the developments will be fast there. For others might be buying a new property, decorating, putting a lot of energy there. For others, and maybe all digging into your tree line and family tree line and family ancestry and so on. So which one? Maybe all of them. So that's a really big thing for you, Leos. Focus on that. Very quickly, just for November, Venus, after the 8th, 9th, will move into your 3rd house and will stay there till the end. So the last 20 days of November, very good for short trips. Perfect. Venus is great in Libra. Go to beautiful places. If you can do short trips within, for a few days, for a week, like go to Italy, go to, or some places with good restaurants, or which is Libra energy, good art, good architecture, maybe there can be some trip for you like that. Or meet with with friends, with siblings, with relatives as well. Meet together and, go out, go for walks. You might be more socially active as well. This is a good period for socializing, for communications, for even buying a car if you want to, taking a trip or whatever. So that's, I like to mention where Venus is because this is where things will be going good. And in our third house, anything to do with media, marketing, communication, information, short trips, buying laptops, phones, filming videos, whatever, YouTube. These are all good things. Anything with they go smoothly, lovely. If you have to present information to someone, if you have to write something, to report something, do it when Venus enters Libra the last 20 days of November. If you have to meet up with friends, organize some kind of get together, or work in a group, with small group with others on a project, it will go smoothly. But remember this this Mars Sun conjunction, guys. If you're Leo, yes, a new chapter in the family, maybe mobilizing your powers together to do something with the family and so on in your personal life. Thank you so much. And yes, if you'd like to watch my videos for 2024, 30% off, 2.5 hours for each sign, very in-depth. If you get them before November the 17th, it's 30% off. We have around 15 to 20,000 we've sold already since I started making them, and people love them, so I keep making them. So there is such strong interest. So if you want to see them, or the transit, the calendars for 2024, 130 pages, interactive. You click on a transit in the calendar, it takes you there, shows you what it means. And sorry, my mind is starting to slow down. Thank you, Leo.